There's a new idea floating around Dem Twitter. It's Democratic Twitter, for those of you who don't get the abbreviation, but I think most of you get it. And I want to share this idea with you here because it's sad. So Jeet here wrote an article on this in the New Republic, and I want to be clear about something. I actually follow Jeet. I don't hate Jeet. Yes, his name is funny. I don't mean that in a put-down way, Jeet. But come on. Come on, your name is Jeet here. I think a lot of people look at it and they go, and then you move along. But anyway, I'm not here to rip on his name. I genuinely like the guy. I follow him on Twitter, and I think he sometimes makes very good points. But he wrote an article in the New Republic. It's titled, Democrats Should Run a Celebrity for President Too. It worked for Republicans twice, and charismatic candidates like Barack Obama and Bill Clinton don't appear every 4 years. This is the direction we're going in. This is the angle you want to take. This is how low the dialogue has gotten. And a lot of prominent Democrats were tweeting this out. It was Jamel Bowie, who I now famously have a thing against with some of his just utterly goofy and ridiculous articles he wrote after the election. There's no such thing as a good Trump voter. I'm not a bigot, even though I just said that every single Trump voter is a bad person. You're apologizing for white supremacy if you agree with Trump on anything. Anything. Seriously, Bernie Sanders was like, hey, maybe we do an infrastructure bill. Maybe we have a meeting of the minds on opposing TPP and trade. He's like, you're apologizing for white supremacy. It's just so stupid. But anyway, that guy has a following. Jamel Bowie tweeted out, I think it's time for everybody to start taking this idea seriously. And that's what I think. Wrong. I will work on that, and I swear my wrong will eventually be as good as Donald Trump's. I tweeted out the compilation the other day from the general election and the primary. And it's like a minute straight of him just, wrong. What's funny is he changes the tones. Sometimes it's wrong. Sometimes he does the quick jab in and out. Wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. Sometimes it's long. Wrong. Anyway, I'm getting off in the weeds here if you can't tell. So Michael Moore actually echoed this sentiment too. He said, Democrats would be better off if they ran Oprah or Tom Hanks. Why don't we run beloved people? And let me give you Jeet's thesis here, his main point, so that you get a sense of where he's coming from. He says, Trump has reinforced the lesson of Reagan that we live in a polity where entertainment is one of the main prisms through which citizens see and understand the world. Media isn't just a tool for spreading one's message, but part of the message itself. Reagan and Trump didn't just articulate conservative values, they performed those values, convincing many voters that they shared their interests and outlook. Instead of rejecting Meryl Streep, he's referring to the comment she made against Trump the other day at whatever it was, the Golden Globes, Democrats would do well to embrace her and fellow Hollywood stars. The party could recruit Streep and others to bait Trump and perhaps, as Moore suggested, groom some of them to be presidential candidates. In 2020, Democrats should run Streep, Leonardo DiCaprio, Beyoncé, Matt Damon, or Rosie O'Donnell. Some might guffaw at this idea, including yours truly. After all, wouldn't running a celebrity candidate further associate Democrats with coastal elitism? But Democrats' main problem last year wasn't in appealing to anti-elitist voters, it was in getting out the party's base. A magnetic, attractive movie star would have a far better chance of accomplishing that than just another accomplished, dowdy politician. Wrong. Okay, here's why that's ridiculous. The Democratic base is not the same as the Republican base. The Republican base are not as bright. They're kind of goofy. They are star fuckers. And, they love to play the, big bad liberal Hollywood, we hate you. If you're a movie star, why don't you stay out of politics? Anyway, I would like to vote for the reality star now, please. They voted for Ronald Reagan, who was a shitty movie actor. And they voted for Donald Trump, who everybody knows Donald Trump was, this buffoon reality star who's been chasing fame his entire life. So, but that's their prerogative. That's the Republican base. The Democratic base, it's honestly gross and condescending to assume that the values of the bases would align. They're polar opposite. You want to know who got the Democratic base excited? Bernie fucking Sanders. Bernie Sanders is basically the furthest thing from an elite movie star. He's a guy who's 196 years old. He doesn't comb his hair. He's a Jewish, maybe atheist socialist. He's a guy who has bad posture. He's never said a political thing in his life, never been a polished person. But Democrats were falling over themselves. Nobody knew who the fuck he was except the deepest political junkies in the country. And he somehow got 47% of the vote in the Democratic primary and won 22 states against a media and an establishment that was totally and openly biased against him, as we learned from WikiLeaks. How can that be? He took down the person who was a celebrity, basically. She was an A-list celebrity already, but he knew her. Hillary Clinton. Because, guess what? When it comes to the Democratic base, it's about policy, stupid! It's about policy and corruption. Hey, do you take money from Wall Street? Do you take money from billionaires? Do you take money from corporations? If you answered yes to any of those, step the fuck aside. None of us are interested. If you answered no, you don't take it, well then how you doing? You passed the first step. Now we're on to the second step. Let me see your platform. Let me see your platform. Okay, boom. So now I know, okay, you support single payer. Great. You support an increase in the minimum wage. Great. You support a free college bill. Great. It turns out the Democratic base actually cares about the substantive policy issues because they're not in politics for just this vague idea of winning. We need to win. And then what? And then what? What are you going to do? What are you going to implement? What are you going to push for? What are your values? How are you going to help people? How are you going to fix the fact that we're in 7 fucking interventions right now? How are you going to fix the fact that 50% of the country makes $30,000 a year or less? That's like 50% of the country in poverty. How are you going to fix it? How are you going to fix the Flint water crisis? And his idea is, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Beyonce, get out there. Get out there. And by the way, also think about how ridiculous this line of argument is. Because who really, when you get into specifics, when you get into demographics and you get into the results from the election, who specifically lost the election for Hillary Clinton, won it for Donald Trump? The Democratic firewall fell. The Democratic firewall is the Rust Belt. So former factory towns that saw their jobs get shipped elsewhere because of NAFTA and all these trade deals, they looked at Hillary and said, I don't believe you when you say you're anti-TPP. Donald Trump, every fucking speech, railing against TPP, railing against outsourcing, saying, I'm going to make America great again. Hillary Clinton, tepidly, because Bernie Sanders pushed her there, yeah, I guess I'm not for it. But she pushed for it 45 times. She called it the gold standard. Again, Donald Trump was hammering it. He said, I'm the candidate of change. I'm the anti-establishment candidate. What did Hillary Clinton say? When Trump said, make America great again, Hillary said, America's already great. So, okay, why aren't you running as a Republican? That's some Ronald Reagan shit. That's some Ronald Reagan shit. That's not liberal. That's not progressive. Obama was hope and change. You're like, okay, no, we're good. We already reached the promised land. But we didn't. People know that. So he was viewed as the anti-establishment candidate. He was viewed as the candidate of change. So yes, those angry white voters, which people yelled at Bernie because they said, you get too many angry white voters. Those are the exact fucking people who won the election for Donald Trump and lost it for Hillary Clinton. The exact people. Do you think Beyonce or Rosie O'Donnell, those guys, well, you know, I was gonna vote the other way, but Single Ladies was a hell of a fucking song. I sure do love The View. Wasn't Rosie splendid on The View? And look, it's not like there aren't some actors who also care about policy who wouldn't maybe make good politicians. Of course they exist. But the fact that the core of his argument is not policy and the core of his argument is the celebrity thing, that's what pisses me off. Because that's so condescending and pedantic and looking down your nose at the Democratic base like, please, like you. And you're also just assuming all we care about is winning. I don't care about winning almost at all. It's a matter of getting the policy. If I get Donald Trump to do my policies, great. If I get him to, yes, block TPP, somehow do single payer. If I get him, and I don't think I'm going to get him to do even 10% of what I want him to do, but then I wouldn't care. It's all framed through the lens of winning is important. Winning is the most important thing. How do we win? But then you're leaving the most important thing about politics and the only thing one should care about, policy, aside. So if there was a celebrity, or if there is a celebrity who really does care so deeply about all the different policy goals, then I would support him. Yes, I would support somebody. I would support man or woman, a celebrity who's a liberal, who actually has appeal and cares about the policy substance. I would support that person. But the celebrity thing would be incidental. The celebrity thing wouldn't be like a thing where it's like, okay, you got to check off that box. No, you don't. No, you don't. Policy comes before everything. So I hate this argument, and I think this is the left losing its mind, or I shouldn't say the left. Democrats, partisan Democrats, losing their mind because of Donald Trump's victory. And so now they're reaching for anything, man. Just like with the totally unsourced story the other day about how Russia has tapes of Trump getting a golden shower from a hooker. The guy was first a GOP operative against Trump. He was an anti-Trump Republican who was paid by them. Then he was paid by the Democrats. His fucking report had misspellings and geographical mistakes, outright falsehoods like, Trump's lawyer being in Prague discussing how fucking Russia owns Trump. So his unsourced thing, the Democrats latch onto it, they're like, I don't know, it's anti-Trump, so we're just going to go with it. Well, do you not care about facts? Well, this is the same kind of thing. It's like, okay, anything. What can we do to beat Trump? I don't know. Somebody call Fergie. Where's Carrot Top? Like, no, this is why people don't like you. And this is why the Democrats are lost in the wilderness now. Because the answers are always simple and right in front of you, but you're doing everything to avoid them. And the answers are, run a principled progressive, a principled liberal who's going to stand up and fight for the American people, make the case, and not be corrupt. You know how easy it would be to beat Donald Trump if that was your candidate?